Back in the car, back with another breakdown. This week, we're talking about sports.
Newton in trouble. Newton is sacked.
After this injury, what are your expectations for Cam?
My expectations for Cam Newton this year are not great.
They should be very concerned.
Got to be honest, Cam hadn't played well.
His foot didn't make him fumble.
His body language said from the start, I don't really want to be out here.
Just for the record, I want to do things on my terms, and this YouTube channel has allowed me to do that. I don't have to beat to nobody else's drum except for mine. So,
Cam Newton starting a YouTube channel signifies a shift in power between pro athletes and the leagues that they play in. And this shift in power could have massive implications for the future of pro sports.
The reality is sports leagues rely on young fans. Once a young fan becomes a fan of a team or a league, you probably have them for life. But in a world where the young audience is no longer watching television, you actually have to capture them through platforms like YouTube and Instagram. And athletes are finding way more success on these platforms than the leagues are. I mean, OBJ is just like one of the most followed people in sports.
Almost bigger than the NFL account. And this is because in the past, athletes were sensationalized, but not necessarily humanized.
But if you look at the modern era, we're starting to know a lot more about these athletes.
I'm proud of you. Proud of you, man. All right, go with your team. Bye.
Steph Curry in the car singing Hamilton with his daughters has to be one of the most human things that we can all relate to, and it makes people at scale care about Steph Curry, no matter if they watch him play basketball or not.
And traditionally, it hasn't been in the best interest of a league to build its players. Because if a guy like Cam Newton starts playing poorly and is no longer on the field, or if he gets hurt, they still need their fans to care more about the Panthers so that they'll tune in next week.
So in the past, the athlete's story would only be told if the league wanted to tell it, because the league and the networks controlled all the airtime.
And not only is their airtime limited because of the broadcast, but it's also just limited in general. NFL players specifically have the shortest careers of some of the biggest major sports.
Most NFL players don't get 4 years. He's gotten it.
So your opportunity as a pro athlete, and specifically as an NFL player like Cam Newton, to leverage your fame from the platform of the NFL is actually pretty small.
No one in the league has taken more hits than Cam Newton. This is just part of doing business.
And if your career is cut short, you need people to care about you no matter what. And YouTube is a phenomenal place to capture the attention of a massive global audience. And a lot of athletes are doing this long before they hit the pros. We saw this on YouTube with a channel called Destroying.
It's your boy Destroying.
Last month, UCF and the NCAA gave him an ultimatum: be on the team or keep his football-centered YouTube channel.
Basically, I'm ruled ineligible because I refuse to demonetize my videos.
But it looks like athletes of the future may not have this problem.
Talk about a game changer for student athletes. Now, this new law would allow them to cash in on endorsements.
Governor Newsom told the New York Times every single student athlete in a university can market their name, image, and likeness. They can all go get a YouTube channel and they can monetize that.
Well, students here at USC overwhelmingly support the bill.
Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna tell you guys how to build your brand.
Build your brand! Build your brand!
It's going to initiate dozens of other states introduce similar legislation. We're rebalancing that power arrangement.
There's no better example of this shift in power than what happened this past year in lacrosse.
Our friend Paul Rabil, who's like the LeBron James of lacrosse, started investing in social media at a really early stage. And over time, he grew an audience that was much bigger than the audience for the league he played in. And with this audience and his belief in the power of the players, he was able to break off and start his own professional league.
What's interesting is there's a very much player-first approach.
Players, agnostic of a sport, in today's economy have aggregated these huge audiences based on direct connection to the sports fan.
And the teams that they play for don't have any tie to a city. They're actually primarily driven off of the personalities of the players. And they operate as a tour-based model, meaning they take all the best players in the world and bring them to different cities throughout their season. To grow this connection with the players, the PLL is not only investing in social media and actually bringing us vlogs and behind-the-scenes content, but also bringing us under the helmet. The announcers actually talk to players during the game, so we get a sense for how the players are feeling while they're playing.
Hey Trevor, this is Ryan Boyle. What is your approach?
Both reacted to the whistle pretty well. I gotta go.
You really did have to go somewhere, huh?
Yeah. The inaugural season of the PLL was wildly successful, and this success shows us that players are now in the driver's seat. But now we're not necessarily saying that Cam Newton is going to band together with OBJ and start their own version of the NFL.
What's happening in lacrosse is just super representative of what's happening across all of professional sports.
The players are starting to control the most valuable thing in sports: They have the deepest connection with the fans. Also, shout out to the PLL. Go check out the PLL if you haven't already. We actually made a documentary about PLL earlier this year. Anyway, we're big fans of them. Check them out. A quick shout out to those of you who retweeted our link last week on Twitter. Shout out to Ayush Makes Music. Ayush, we haven't heard your music, but
hopefully it's good.
Probably pretty good. Also, shout out to JD Witherspoon, another creator who's always supporting us so much. Thank you, JD.
If you want to get a shout out on next week's video, make sure to retweet the tweet about this video.
And thanks to all of you who have watched to the end of this video. We'd love to hear your feedback on the topics that we're covering week to week. If you have any ideas for topics that you guys want to hear us break down, comment those below. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we will see you next week. Peace!
Do you ever play football?
Yep.
That's a cool thing.
It is cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I played tackle football, Colin.
That's awesome.
You?
No. I did get cut in the first of 2 rounds of cuts for 6th grade basketball. I was one. Hold on. Yeah. I was one of 2 people to get cut in the first round. The other kid got cut because he was tripping people intentionally, and I got cut off of talent and skill reasons.